On the day of the wedding, my motorcade pulled up outside the bride's apartment building. Leading the procession was a stretch Lincoln, followed by a fleet of black Mercedes-Benzes, an impressive sight by any standard. Emma, the girl next door who'd followed me around since we were kids, sent me a text. "I'm ready. Baby. Come get me." Right after it popped up an anonymous Cloud Drive link. Inside were videos of her being intimate with her college ex-boyfriend. The timestamp on the footage, yesterday. At the end of the video, she smiled sweetly into the camera. "Darling. Tomorrow I'm getting married. But he'll never compare to you. Consider these my wedding gift to you." I told the driver to turn the convoy around. Then I forwarded the Cloud Drive link and password to every single one of our relatives and friends in a group message. Caption: Wedding's off. The bride has prepared a special gift for everyone. Help yourselves. Don't be shy. She completely lost it. Over the phone came her hysterical, heart-rending sobs. "Liam, listen to Mike's deepfake. Someone's trying to ruin us." The moment I hit send, the world went dead silent, then exploded. My phone vibrated so furiously it felt like it would shatter in my palm. My dad was the first to call, his voice shaking uncontrollably. "Liam, what on earth is going on? What gift?" I leaned back in the back seat, my tone eerily calm. "Your son almost became the biggest fool of the century." My mom snatched the phone from him, tears in her voice. "Surely there's some misunderstanding. Emma isn't that kind of girl." "Mom, seeing is believing." I hung up, unwilling to waste another breath. In the rearview mirror, I watched Emma in her pristine white wedding dress, gathering her skirts and sprinting out of the building like a woman possessed. Her flawless makeup was streaked with tears, making her look like some pathetic, clownish performer. "Step on it," I told the driver. "Don't let anything filthy touch the car." The driver floored it. The convoy sped away, leaving her screaming my name behind us. Calls started pouring in from Emma's girlfriends, her bridesmaids, every distant aunt and uncle under the sun. I blocked them one by one, mechanically, expressionless. My best friend Noah texted me a single word followed by a string of exclamation marks. "Holy shit." I texted back, "Thanks." He replied instantly, "No way." That was legendary. I always knew something was off about her. Drinks tonight. The convoy disbanded outside the 5-star hotel we'd booked. I walked over to the MC and the hotel manager, both of them still beaming with wedding day cheer. "Congratulations, Mr. Bennett." I handed them a card. "The wedding's cancelled. I'll triple compensate all losses. Settle it now." Their smiles froze. They stared at each other, dumbfounded. I ignored their shock and turned to leave. An unknown number kept calling. Relentless. I picked up. "Liam, please listen. It really is deepfake. It's Ethan. He hates that I'm marrying you. He wants to destroy us." Emma's voice was raw, ragged with the desperation of someone drowning. I gave a cold laugh. "Is that so?" Then I hung up. In the family group chat already in total chaos, I sent one final message. "Family disgrace. My apologies to everyone. That's all there is to it." Then I disbanded the group. The world finally went quiet. I went back alone to our new apartment. Walls plastered with double happiness symbols. The sea of red burned my eyes. I grabbed a bottle of ice water from the fridge and downed it in one go. The cold liquid slid down my throat, but it did nothing to douse the fire in my chest. I walked over to the enormous wedding photo. In it, Emma was nestled in my arms, smiling pure and sweet. I reached out and touched my own face in the picture. What a fool. I picked up the ashtray on the table and hurled it with all my strength. A deafening crash. Glass shattered everywhere. And that hypocritical smile split into 1,000 pieces. Late that night, someone started pounding on the door. Bang. 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 With the kind of fury that said they wouldn't stop until they'd broken the door down. Through the peephole, I saw the twisted faces of Emma and her parents. Emma's eyes were swollen red from crying. Her mother wore a look of bitter, venomous resentment. Her father looked ready to tear someone apart. I finished the last sip of water in my glass at a leisurely pace, then pulled the door open. "Liam Bennett. You animal." Mr. Hale roared and threw a fist straight at my face. I dodged sideways and clamped down on his wrist hard enough that his face drained of color instantly. "Mr. Hale. Think carefully before you throw punches." I stared him dead in the eye, enunciating every word. Breaking and entering plus assault. That's enough to land you in jail for a few days. He struggled but couldn't break free. His face went from red to white. You. Let go of me. Mrs. Hale. Seeing this, plopped herself down on the floor and started wailing and thrashing. Oh. The injustice. He hits the daughter and now he's going after the father too. She slapped her thighs and howled at the top of her lungs. Liam Bennett. You heartless monster. Our Emma grew up with you. How could you ruin her like this? How is she supposed to face anyone now? Neighbors' doors creaked open a crack, and curious heads poked out. Emma dropped to her knees in front of me, clutching my pant leg, tears streaming down her pretty face. Liam. I'm begging you. Please believe me. It's deepfake. I swear. Ethan hates me. He's trying to ruin everything. She looked up at me, cheeks streaked with tears, eyes brimming with what looked like genuine pleading. Have you forgotten everything we've been through? How could I ever do something like that? I looked down at her, at the face I'd loved for 10 years. Right now. It only made me sick to my stomach. Is that right? I pulled my leg free, stepped back, and pulled out my phone. I opened the video. Skipped to the end. I kept the sound off and just shoved the screen in her face. Then explained to me how that coin-sized burn scar on Ethan's lower back got deep-faked onto him. Emma's sobs cut off mid-breath. Her face, lit by the cold glow of the phone screen, went paper-white. Her lips trembled. Not a single word came out. I kept going, my voice low but landing like hammer blows. That scar. He got it shielding you from boiling water 3 years ago. You ran to me crying, saying how moved and heartbroken you were. Said it was a medal of his love for you. What? Already forgotten? Mrs. Hale's wailing stopped. Mr. Hale froze too. After a few seconds, he snapped, red-faced and furious. Even if she made a mistake. It was just a moment of foolishness. Young people do stupid things. Couldn't you have handled this privately? Did you have to make a spectacle of it for everyone? You're practically trying to drive her to her grave. I laughed. It hurt to laugh. Privately. I turned on the audio and cranked up the volume. Emma's sweet, seductive voice rang out clear as day. Darling. Tomorrow I'm getting married. But he'll never compare to you. Consider these my wedding gift to you. Those words landed like a slap across the entire family's collective face. Mrs. Hale turned purple. Mr. Hale's mouth opened and shut. Nothing came out. When she was sending this garbage as a wedding gift, did she stop to think about saving face from me? I put my phone away and pointed at the door. Get out. Come back here again. And I'll call the police. I didn't give them time to react. Right in front of them and all the neighbors. I slammed the door shut. Silence again. The Hales clearly had no intention of letting it go. The next day, I walked into the office lobby and found a crowd gathered. Mrs. Hale was sitting disheveled on the floor, holding up a white banner scrawled with red paint. Heartless Liam Bennett played with my daughter's feelings. Dumped her. Ruined her reputation. Give U.S. justice. She cried as she ranted to my gathered colleagues about my crimes. Tell me if this is right. My daughter grew up with him. They were engaged. And just like that he dumps her and drags her name through the mud. Coworkers whispered and pointed. Some looked sympathetic. Some looked contemptuous. Some were just there for the show. Mr. Hale stood guard like a bouncer by the elevators. The second he saw me, he charged over. Eyes bloodshot. Liam Bennett. If you don't make this right for my daughter today, I'll destroy you. He spread his arms like he was ready to take me down with him. I walked right past him without flinching. Pulled out my phone. And made a call. Charlotte. You can come up now. Less than 3 minutes later. Charlotte Hale sharp in a business suit. All cool professionalism stepped into the lobby with 2 tall security guards. Charlotte didn't even glance at Mrs. Hale on the floor. She walked straight up to Mr. Hale and handed him a document. Mr. Hale. I'm Charlotte Reed, Mr. Bennett's legal counsel. Her voice was calm and clinical. Your behavior has severely damaged my client's reputation and disrupted our company's operations. This constitutes disturbing the peace and defamation. We've already called the police. And we reserve the right to pursue full legal liability. Mrs. Hale tried to start another scene, pointing at Charlotte ready to scream. And who do you think you? She didn't finish. The 2 guards lifted her up. One on each side. Let go of me. You can't do this. Charlotte ignored her outburst and pressed a lawyer's letter into Mr. Hale's hands. This is a formal legal notice. Read it yourself. Or have your lawyer read it. I stepped in front of Mr. Hale. His body was trembling with rage and humiliation. I lowered my voice so only he could hear. Mr. Hale. You work at Tianli Construction. Right. Didn't they just win a downstream contract with us last month? His pupils constricted. I kept going. Tone flat but carrying an unmistakable threat. $30 million. 2-year timeline. I heard you put quite a bit of work into landing that project. Now, what do you think would happen if I anonymously packaged up your daughter's wedding gift and sent copies, one to your company's compliance department, one to your biggest client, and a few to your hungry competitors? What do you think would happen? All the color drained from Mr. Hale's face. His lips trembled. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. He knew I wasn't bluffing. I held his career in my hands. His entire future. Take your people and get out of my sight. I looked at him. Eyes ice cold. This is the last shred of decency I'm leaving you. And Emma. Minutes later. Mr. Hale, looking like a defeated rooster, dragged the still screaming Mrs. Hale and a hiding Emma out of the lobby with their tails between their legs. The farce was over. Charlotte walked over and handed me a glass of warm water. You handled that calmly. I took it. Thanks. Just didn't want to keep dealing with garbage. She looked at me. And there was something knowing in her eyes. Want me to handle the property division? Clean break. Best thing for you. I nodded. I'd appreciate that. Charlotte worked with astonishing efficiency. In under 2 days, she'd compiled a detailed asset inventory. From the fully paid-off apartment to the expensive jewelry I'd given Emma. The bride price. Every transfer under every pretext, every last cent accounted for. Legally. Premarital gifts can be reclaimed if the marriage never takes place. Charlotte said professionally. Especially large assets given in contemplation of marriage, real estate. Bride price. That sort of thing. Get all of it back. I said. Every penny. I had everything the Hales had brought as dowry: appliances. Furniture packed up. Along with every last thing Emma had left there. From designer bags down to a single hair clip. I called movers and sent it all back. Untouched. As for the apartment, I'd paid the down payment and every mortgage installment myself. I brought in an appraisal company. Calculated the $200,000 the Hales had chipped in for renovations. And wired the exact amount to Mr. Hale's account. Fair and square. And ice cold. When it was all done, I felt that boulder in my chest shift, half of it lifted away. Throughout all this, Emma kept sending me these long, emotional messages. She'd stopped making excuses. Stopped lying. Now she was playing the nostalgia card. Liam. Do you remember? When we were kids. You saved up your lunch money for a whole month just to buy me a doll. Liam. Do you remember? When I failed my college entrance exam. You walked with me around the sports field all night. Liam. I know I was wrong. I just lost my head for a minute. I can't live without you. Can we go back to how things were? I swear I'll never see Ethan again. Reading those dramatic, performative words, I felt nothing. Just a kind of bitter, ironic amusement. There was no going back. The second I watched that video, we were done. I sent her all the property settlement documents and transfer screenshots. Bundled together. Then I replied with 2 words. Take care. Blocked. Deleted. Clean and final. Not a trace of hesitation. A few days later, Noah dropped a screenshot in our friend group chat. It was Emma's social media post. A red marriage certificate. In the photo, she and Ethan were pressed close together. Her smile looked forced. There seemed to be tears at the corners of her eyes. The caption, after everything. I came back to where I started. This time, I chose love. The group blew up. No way. What is this woman doing? Straight into the next one. Chose love. So Liam was just the backup plan she dumped. Gross. Birds of a feather. I guess. Staring at that glaring marriage certificate, I felt strangely calm. I opened the app. Found that now unfamiliar profile. And pulled up her feed. Then I liked that chose love post. That like was my final wedding gift to her. Silent mockery. But it hit harder than words. When it was done, I put my phone down. And that boulder. It was gone entirely. To thank Charlotte. I took her out to dinner. I picked a quiet, elegant Western restaurant. She'd traded her business suit for a cream-colored dress, her long hair falling loosely over her shoulders. Gone was the sharp-edged lawyer. Instead, she looked thoughtful. Gentle. Mr. Bennett. You really don't have to do this. It's just my job, she said with a smile. Call me Liam, I said. This dinner is from a friend. She blinked, then smiled back. All right, Liam. That night, we talked about everything. Work, life, movies, travel. I was surprised how much we had in common. We both loved the same obscure director. We both enjoyed wandering old towns on the weekends. We even ordered the same latte from the same little corner cafe. She never pried into my personal life. Never brought up the whole Emma mess. But whenever my mind drifted, she'd steer the conversation somewhere interesting just at the right moment. Just enough to pull me back. Talking to her felt easy. Natural. I could feel that frozen part of my heart starting to thaw. After dinner, we walked along the river. The evening breeze carried the damp scent of the water, and it swept away the last shadows in my chest. Look, she said, pointing at the glittering lights across the water. When one door closes, there's always something new waiting for you. I wasn't looking at the view. I was looking at her profile. In the colored lights. Her features looked soft and steady all at once. Something inside me shifted. Just a little. Later, I'd hear bits and pieces from Noah and the others about Emma's married life. Heard she's not doing great. That Ethan guy. Total deadbeat. Can't hold down a real life. Someone brought it up carefully at a gathering. Another friend who knew more jumped in. Not great. It's a disaster. Ethan doesn't work. Just parties and gambles. Got himself a serious gambling addiction. All the renovation money Emma got from Liam. Plus her parents' savings. Ethan blew it all paying off debts. Saw them fighting on the street the other day. He was saying the most awful stuff. Called her a desperate loser who threw herself at him. I listened in silence. Didn't say a word. Once, I was at the mall buying things for my parents. And I actually ran into them. Outside a luxury boutique. Ethan was yelling at Emma at the top of his lungs. What are you staring at? You can't afford any of this. One bag costs more than you make in 6 months. Stop embarrassing me. Emma stood with her head down. Wearing an old, faded dress. Her makeup was done perfectly. But it couldn't hide the exhaustion and weariness in her eyes. She was mumbling some explanation. Voice so small you could barely hear it. Then she looked up and saw me. She froze. Shock. Shame. And something I couldn't place, desperation. Maybe flashed across her face. I kept walking. Didn't even glance her way for more than a second. I walked straight past them like they were total strangers. As we passed each other, I heard Ethan's voice get even nastier behind me. What are you looking at? See your ex and suddenly can't move. Pathetic. I didn't look back. Just felt sad. And amused. In a grim sort of way. This was the love she'd thrown everything away for. When I got home, I poured myself a whiskey and stood by the floor-to-ceiling window. Watching the traffic stream by below. I raised my glass to the air. Toasted that dead chapter of my youth. I started finding reasons to see Charlotte. All kinds of excuses. Charlotte. I've got a contract clause I'm not sure about. Can I pick your brain? Charlotte. A friend of mine has a labor dispute. Could I get your take? After a few of these. She laughed on the other end of the line. Liam. What legal emergency is it this time? There was a teasing lilt in her voice. I stopped making excuses and just asked her straight. Free this weekend. There's a new gallery. I'd like to take you. She was quiet for a few seconds. Then said yes. Bright and easy. Sure. We went from colleagues to friends. We went to art shows. Concerts. Discovered all those tiny, wonderful holienthal places around the city. I found myself wanting to be around her more and more. She was sharp, got everything right away. Talking to her was effortless. She was gentle. too. Always picked up on the smallest shifts in my mood. Once I was pulling all-nighters on a tough project. Late one night, she showed up at my office door with a thermos. Saw you posting about work on your feed. Figured you hadn't eaten. She opened it up. Steaming pork rib soup. My mom made it. I packed some extra. She didn't stay long. Just dropped it off and left with a quick "don't overdo it. IDRA. NK that soup." And my whole chest felt warm. Another time. I came down with a bad fever. Stuck at home alone. Half delirious. She somehow found out. Took half a day off. And showed up at my door. She dug out my first aid kit like she'd done it 100 times. Took my temperature. Found the right medicine. Then went into the kitchen and made congee from whatever was in my fridge. Simple stuff, just rice and a pinch of salt, but it was the best thing I'd eaten in days. I lay on the couch watching her move around the kitchen. And I thought, it's nice having someone at home. When I was better. On a clear, starry night. I took her back to that riverside walk where we'd first strolled together. I told her everything. About Emma. About how it had hurt. About the anger and the shame. I expected comforting words. She didn't give me any. She just listened. Then she took my hand. "It's all behind you, N. Ow." Her hand was warm. Soft. "Liam. You're a good person. You deserve someone who loves you the way you should be loved." I looked into her clear, bright eyes. And I could see myself in them. I worked up my courage and told her how I felt. "Charlotte. I like you. Not out of gratitude. Not because I need someone. Just a man liking a woman. That's all." She smiled. Eyes crinkling into crescents. I'd been waiting to hear that for a while. We got together. My social media wasn't just empty space or work posts anymore. She started showing up. Pictures from our trip to the coast, her smiling brighter than the sun. Pictures of us cooking at home in Clumsy, LY chopping vegetables while she laughed so hard she could barely stand. In every photo, I was smiling for real. Noah commented on one, "Damn. You're actually alive again." Yeah. I was alive again. Charlotte was like light breaking into a world that had been dark. With her, I finally understood. A real relationship nourishes you. You grow together. It makes you a better person. Emma and Ethan's marriage was shorter than anyone expected. Less than a year in. It was falling apart ugly. Ethan was the one who wanted the divorce. He'd racked up massive gambling debts. And with collectors breathing down his neck. He set his sights on Emma's parents. He demanded the Hales pay off everything he owed. Plus $50,000 in compensation for lost youth. Otherwise, no divorce. Naturally, the Hales refused. Mr. Hale nearly had a stroke over it, calling it blackmail. When Ethan got turned down, he showed his true, ugly colors. He started spreading every dirty detail about Emma all over their social circles. About how she'd bounced back and forth between me and him. About how she'd played both sides, enjoying my money while chasing his idea of passion. He even reshared that cloud drive link I'd sent OUT. Adding all kinds of salacious details of his own. Everyone. Meet this woman. Sent me gifts before her wedding. Then dumped me the second she decided I was too poor. Her dad's no better rode his ex-in-law's coattails for contracts. Then acts like he doesn't know you. Ethan went rabid. Bit everyone. Tore the Hales' last shred of dignity to pieces. The worst part. He sent explicit photos from their marriage directly to Mr. and Mrs. Hale. Mrs. Hale fainted on the spot when she saw them. Mr. Hale, broken by one blow after another, had a heart attack and ended up in the hospital. Emma had nowhere left to turn. She got fired from her job. Friends avoided her like the plague. She couldn't even go home. She even showed up at Charlotte's law firm, begging her to take the divorce case. Charlotte turned her down over the phone. Calm but firm. "Miss Hale, I'm sorry. Given my relationship with Mr. Bennett, there's a conflict of interest. I can't take your case." In the end, to escape Ethan, Emma walked away with nothing. No money. No belongings. Nothing. Marriage. Property. Reputation. Her family's support, all of it gone. Practically overnight. I heard about it from Noah while Charlotte and I were making dinner at home. I was washing vegetables. She was at the stove. The kitchen smelled good. And we were laughing about something. When Noah finished telling me, I just said HM and passed Charlotte the cleaned greens. She took them. Glanced at me. "Something wrong?" I shook my head and smiled. "Nothing. Just thinking the braised pork tonight's going to be amazing." She smiled back. Whatever storms were raging out there, they had nothing to do with us. In this house, there was only warm light and happiness within arm's reach. Karma. I supposed. She'd planted the seeds herself. Now she was reaping a harvest she couldn't stomach. I thought that was the end of Emma and me. That the book was closed. I didn't expect her to come find me again. It was a rainy night. Charlotte and I had just finished dinner and were watching a movie on the couch. My phone rang. Unknown number. I was going to hang up. But Charlotte said, "Answer it. Could be work." I swiped to pick up. A hoarse, weak, familiar voice came through. "Liam. It's me. Emma." I frowned. Ready to end the call. She rushed on. Desperate. "Liam. I know I was wrong. I know I deserve everything that's happened. It's all karma." Her voice was thick with tears. Pathetic. "I have nothing left. My parents won't talk to me. Ethan's still telling everyone terrible things about me. I don't even have a place to stay. Can you? Can why? Oh, you help me. Just this once. For old time's sake. I'll pay you back. I promise." I said nothing. I felt no pity. Just the irritation of a fly that won't leave you alone. Our old times. She'd cut the cord herself the day she sent me those videos. I was about to tell her no. Cold and final. When Charlotte reached over and took the phone from my hand. Her voice was gentle. Almost polite. "Miss Hale. This is Charlotte Reed. Liam's fiancée." Dead silence on the other end. I could picture the shock and humiliation on Emma's face. Charlotte didn't wait for her to respond. She kept going. Steady and unhurried. "Liam is a kind man. But that doesn't mean he's responsible for your bad choices or your failed life. He handled everything with more decency than he owed you. More than enough." Her tone stayed soft. But every word landed like a scalpel clean. Precise. Leaving no room for fantasy. And as for old times. The moment he canceled that wedding. Those were gone. No one's life falls apart because one person leaves. Everyone has to live with the consequences of their own decisions. I hope you can find a way to stand on your own 2 feet. Good luck. With that. She hung up before Emma could say another word. And blocked the number. When she turned around. She found me watching her. She smiled. A little sheepish. Was that overstepping? I shook my head. Pulled her close. And held her tight. No. I buried my face in the crook of her neck. Breathing in the clean scent of her hair. "Thank you. Thank you for being my shield. Thank you for being my home." Charlotte hugged me back. Rubbing my back gently. "Don't waste energy on people who don't deserve it. You've got me now." In that moment. The last lingering shadow of the past lifted completely. What I had was this warm embrace. And a future I could see. Clear as day. Our wedding was simple and warm. No grand spectacle. No endless ceremonies. We invited only our closest family and friends. And booked a private room at a restaurant overlooking the river. At the reception. My parents held Charlotte's hands and couldn't stop smiling. My dad, quiet man that he is, drank too much that night. Clapped me on the shoulder. And said the same thing over and over. "Liam. You lucky kid. You take good care of her." I knew I was. When we exchanged rings. I looked into Charlotte's eyes and spoke the vows I'd written and rewritten. "Charlotte. Thank you. For showing up when my life was at its worst. And then giving me the best future I could have asked for. I won't promise forever. But I promise this from today on. Every day I have left. I'll spend loving you. Protecting you. Making you the happiest woman in the world." She smiled through her tears. When it was her turn. She said just one thing. "Liam. Me too." We hugged. We kissed. Surrounded by everyone who loved us. Married life was quiet. But full of small, happy moments. We'd go grocery shopping on weekends and bicker about what to have for dinner. We'd curl up on the couch late at night watching old movies. Crying and laughing at all the same parts. I learned to cook. Started out burning everything. Gradually got decent at a few homestyle dishes. Charlotte would always finish every last bite and praise me dramatically. "Honey. That was incredible. Best thing I've ever eaten." I knew she was humoring me. But I ate it up anyway. 6 months in. Charlotte gave me the biggest surprise of my life. I came home from work and found a cake on the table. She was holding a pregnancy test. Grinning at me. 2 clear red lines. I froze. Mind went completely blank. Took me a full 30 seconds to process it. I ran over. Lifted her up. And spun her around the living room again and again. I'm going to be a dad. Charlotte. I'm going to be a dad. I was giddy as a kid, holding her like I held the whole world in my arms. My life entered a new chapter full of anticipation, full of joy. I started reading parenting books, studied recipes for pregnancy meals, went to every single prenatal appointment, coddled her and our unborn baby like they were the most precious things on earth. Life was full of small, real happiness. The last I heard of Emma. My mom mentioned it in passing on a call. She said that after Mr. Hale got out of the hospital, he couldn't take the gossip and the shame of the divorce scandal. He fought with Mrs. Hale, blamed Emma for everything, and disowned her. Emma sold every piece of jewelry she had left, bought a one-way train ticket, and moved to some small city down south. No one heard from her after that. Her story became nothing more than a footnote in my life. Not even a footnote. Really. Just a faint shadow the wind had blown away. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. My career had gone from strength to strength. I'd made it to senior management and was getting ready to retire with honors. Our son Oliver was married now, to a woman as bright and kind as his mother. They'd given me a lively, adorable little grandson. Charlotte and I. The years had only made our love deeper, richer. She'd gone from sharp young lawyer to graceful law professor. Now, like me, she was looking forward to retirement. We still held hands on walks, still bickered about silly things, still surprised each other on anniversaries. One ordinary weekend afternoon. The weather was lovely. I took Charlotte to an old pastry shop we'd been going to for decades, to buy our grandson's favorite osmanthus cakes. The shop was on a corner of an old street, full of the warm, noisy energy of neighborhood life. We were almost there when I glanced to the side and saw a figure familiar and strange all at once. By the trash can on the corner, a woman was bent over, fishing out empty plastic bottles. Her hair was streaked with gray. Her back was hunched. She wore a faded, threadbare gray coat. Maybe I stared too long. She seemed to feel it. She straightened up and lifted her head. Our eyes met. Her face was carved with years. Skin rough and dulled. Eyes sunken deep. Those eyes that had once been so bright and innocent, now they were just cloudy, numb. The second she saw me, something sharp flashed in that cloudiness. Shock. Then it curdled into shame, humiliation, and a desperate urge to look away. It was Emma. Time had not been kind. I looked at her, and I felt absolutely nothing. No hatred. No resentment. Not even pity. Just still water. Like looking at a total stranger. Charlotte must have noticed something. She followed my gaze. She didn't ask any questions. Just reached over and gave my hand a gentle squeeze. That familiar warmth, that familiar pressure grounded me, pulled me back. I gave Emma the faintest, most polite nod, the most distant of greetings. Then I tightened my hold on Charlotte's hand, turned, and walked with her into the sweet-smelling pastry shop. Behind me, the noisy street went on, and her figure grew smaller and smaller in the corner of my eye, until it was gone. On the walk home with our pastries, the setting sun stretched our shadows long across the pavement. We walked slowly. Neither of us said anything. After a while, Charlotte spoke softly. "Did it bother you seeing her?" I shook my head and turned to look at her. There was silver at her temples now, fine lines around her eyes. But to me, she was still that same woman in the cream dress, smiling at me 30-some years ago. I can't even remember what she looked like, I said, smiling. I stopped walking. On a busy street full of people, I looked her straight in the eyes. I only remember that 30 years ago, a brilliant lawyer named Charlotte Reed walked into my life like a hero and chased all the darkness away. I remember she married this boring old guy and gave him an amazing son. And now she's still here, putting up with this old man, growing old together with him. Charlotte's eyes welled up. She reached over and swatted my arm, pretending to be annoyed. "You old flirt." But she was smiling. We kept walking, hand in hand, almost home. The front door swung open and a little girl with pigtails came barreling out, arms wide open. "Grandpa. Grandma." I bent down and swept my granddaughter up, kissing her chubby cheek. Charlotte came over and straightened my collar, rumpled from the little one's tackle. We looked at each other and smiled. The sun was warm on our shoulders. That's a life. Right there. The person you love beside you. Warm lights at home. Grandchildren running around. All the missed chances. The losses. The betrayals, the all blown away with the wind. In all these long, happy years, they didn't leave so much as an echo. Hey there. Could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10. Please, I am begging you. It really means a lot to me. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit follow.